Precisely 6:15 p.m. is the time. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Dilini Gunawardana and read by Chandima Virakon. Headlines. A new mechanism will be introduced to take decisions on the implementation of renewable energy projects. The Cabinet grants approval to reduce the value-added tax registration threshold. Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara says that the prospective solar power project is implemented in compliance with the proper procurement procedure. The opposition leader requests the government to remove the unbearable tax imposed on the public. The acreage tax imposed on the cultivation lands is suspended. In news overseas, the UN General Assembly is to vote on immediate ceasefire in Gaza. In sports news, it's volleyball. National Youth Volleyball Finals will be held next week. Local stories in detail. A new mechanism will be introduced to take decisions on the implementation of renewable power projects. Both local and foreign investors have informed the government that they have to face various issues in implementing these projects. Consequently, a standing committee in this regard will be appointed. This was disclosed by Minister Dr. Bandulu Gunawardana at the press conference to inform the media on the Cabinet decisions. The Cabinet of Ministers has granted approval to reduce the value-added tax registration threshold. As such, the VAT registration threshold is expected to be slashed from 80 million rupees per annum to 60 million rupees per annum with effect from the 1st of January 2024. The third reading of the VAT Amendment Bill was passed with amendments in Parliament yesterday. Minister Dr. Bandulu Gunawardana said that the approval of the Attorney General has been received for the VAT Amendment Bill. Today was the 18th day of the committee stage debate of the Appropriation Bill. The expenditure votes of the Ministries of Investment Promotion and Technology were taken into debate at the House today. Minister Kanchana Wijayasekara said that the prospective solar power project is being carried out in compliance with the proper procurement procedure. This will be the largest solar power storing project in South Asia. It will be highly advantageous for the whole country. Studies are currently underway to implement 5 new renewable energy projects in the island. MP Anura Kumara Disanayaka said that only $20 billion has been received as foreign investments since 1978. Priority should be given to investments made in dollars. He added that investments should comply with the proper procurement procedure. MP Vajra Abeyewardene said that 1.8 billion foreign direct investments have been received so far. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that increase of VAT tax will result in increased price of books and magazines. Rather than increasing the VAT tax, expansion of tax levying procedure will increase the state revenue. He requested the government to remove the unbearable tax imposed on the public. The government decides to suspend levying acreage tax imposed on the cultivation lands. An amount of 100 rupees per each acre was charged previously. The tax was collected by the Department of Agrarian Development and was credited to the state revenue. However, the expenditure spent on collecting this tax is higher than the income collected. Hence, collection of the tax will be suspended in future. Minister Mahinda Amaravira disclosed this. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Your next generation digital banking partner, People's Bank.
Continuing with the local stories, Minister Vijayadasa Rajapaksa said that plans are underway to introduce new reforms to the prevailing education system next year. He made these remarks at a workshop held by the Student Parliament of the DEC College in collaboration with the Law Students Union of Sri Lanka. The workshop on leadership and law focused on the significance of including law into the school curriculum. The minister further said that the parrot learning method practiced in the education system should be eliminated. Instead of by-heart learning, The need of a new education system is crystal clear in the current context. Most of the countries in the world have abandoned the written examination method. Accordingly, a new assessment system will be introduced to the education field next year. Under the new system, 50% of the assessment methods used will follow a more pragmatic approach. The Minister appreciated the contribution made by the Law Students' Union of Sri Lanka in making the future generation aware of the law. To conclude the local news, the headlines again. A new mechanism will be introduced to take decisions on the implementation of renewable energy projects. The Cabinet grants approval to reduce the value-added tax registration threshold. Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says that the prospective solar power project is implemented in compliance with the proper procurement procedure. The opposition leader requests the government to remove the unbearable tax imposed on the public. The acreage tax imposed on the cultivation lands is suspended. That came to you in the local news.
Enjoy seamless shopping. Open LCs, settle bills and transfer funds instantly, anywhere and anytime. With People's Bank Digital Solutions, you're empowered to do more, whenever and wherever you want. Unlock a world of modern banking conveniences with People's Bank, your next generation digital banking partner. People's Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And on the main news story, Parliamentarian Vadivel Suresh has been appointed as the co-chairman of the Divisional Coordination Committees in the Divisional Secretariat Divisions of Passara and Lunugala in the Badulla district. Accordingly, the MP has been tasked with monitoring all development activities implemented by the government in Passara and Lunugala Divisional Secretariat Divisions. The relevant appointment has been made by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. That came to you in the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
This is Watchlight.
And on Watchlight this evening, according to the latest statistics released by the National Dengue Control Unit, the total dengue cases reported in Sri Lanka so far this year surpassed 80,000. The NDCU said that 80,192 cases had been reported as of yesterday, and 3,704 of them have been reported in December alone. According to the statistics, 47 people have succumbed to the disease. The Western Province remains the most affected, with 46.4% cases reported. That came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
Headlines of the world news. The UN General Assembly is to vote on immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Donald Tusk is elected the Polish Prime Minister. Cambridge archaeology experts find a Roman theatre in Italy. The UN General Assembly is set to vote today on an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, days after the US vetoed a similar resolution proposed in the Security Council. The current proposed draft was put forward by a group of 20 Arab countries and the Organization for Islamic Cooperation. No country has a veto power in the 193-member General Assembly. However, unlike in the Security Council, General Assembly resolutions are not legally binding, though they do reflect global opinion. Since the war began, the Security Council has failed 6 times to adopt a resolution demanding a ceasefire because of disagreement among its 15 members. The Polish Parliament has given former Prime Minister Donald Tusk a mandate to form a new coalition government. The incoming administration will be sworn in at the Presidential Palace on Wednesday. It will put an end to the 8-year rule of the right-wing Nationalist Law and Justice Party. Mr. Tusk's centrist coalition won most seats in October's elections, but had been unable to take office until now. Archaeologists have unearthed the remains of a roofed theatre, market and river port at the site of a Roman town. The Cambridge University-led study suggested that Interamna Lirenas in central Italy was a thriving town. Finds at the site have suggested its decline began about 300 years later than experts previously thought. Analysis of excavated pottery indicated the town in southern Lazio resisted decline until in later part of the 3rd century AD. And to end the world news, the headlines again. The UN General Assembly is to vote on immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Donald Tusk is elected the Polish Prime Minister. Cambridge archaeology experts find a Roman theatre in Italy. That ends the world news for now.
Development news.
Taking a look at the development news, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to accept the proposal furnished by United Solar Energy Company as a policy for the development of a solar power station of 700 megawatts with 100% battery power storage system, including necessary transmission lines from the Punakari Reservoir to New Kilinochchi Grid Substation, to evaluate the project proposal and to appoint a negotiation committee appointed by the Cabinet to submit recommendations with a view to decide the procurement charges of electricity power. That came to you in the development news.
Moving on with sports news.
And on the sports news, the finals of the 35th National Youth Services Rupavahini Challenge Trophy volleyball tournament are scheduled to take place throughout the day on the 23rd of December at the indoor stadium of the National Youth Centre in Maharagama, as announced by the National Youth Services Centre. Teams from all 26 districts across the country, both boys and girls, will compete in the tournament. The preliminary round of the national level girls competition is set to commence today and will run until December 13th. The national level boys competition is slated for December 20th and 21st at the indoor stadium in the Youth Services Centre, Maharagama. The champions of the tournament will be awarded a cash prize of 150,000 rupees, while the runners-up will receive 100,000 rupees, and teams securing third place will be granted a cash prize of 75,000 rupees.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Orit Apparels Lanka Private Limited claimed the Gold Award among extra-large companies in the textile and garment sector for the second consecutive year at the NCE Awards ceremony held at Shangri-La Hotel, Colombo recently. The NCE Awards was organized by the National Chamber of Exporters for the 31st consecutive year. That came to you in the Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු වීන හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news.
On economic news, the National Chamber of Commerce of Sri Lanka announces the National Business Excellence Awards 2024 for the 19th consecutive year. The flagship event will be held on Thursday at 3 p.m. at the National Chamber Auditorium, Colombo 10.
Weather report.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. Showers will occur at times in the eastern and Uva provinces and in the Matale and Polonnaruwa districts. Several spells of showers will occur in the northern province and in the Anuradhapura and Hambantota districts. Showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the Sabragamur and western provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara Galle, Mathura districts after 1 p.m. And fairly heavy showers, about 75 millimeters, are likely at some places. Misty condition can be expected at some places in the western, Sabragamur, central, southern and Uva provinces in the morning. That came to you in the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. A new mechanism will be introduced to take decisions on the implementation of renewable energy projects. The Cabinet grants approval to reduce the value-added tax registration threshold. Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara says that the prospective solar power project is implemented in compliance with the proper procurement procedure. The opposition leader requests the government to remove the unbearable tax imposed on the public. The acreage tax imposed on the cultivation lands is suspended. In foreign news, the UN General Assembly is to vote on immediate ceasefire in Gaza. In sports news, it was volleyball. National Youth Volleyball Finals will be held next week. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. With the time reading 30 minutes down 6, we move on with the programs of this evening.
You're with Radio Sri Lanka on 97.4 and 97.6 FM.
Well, 31 minutes down 6 is the time, and here I am, Chandima Virakun, to keep you entertained all the way till 10 p.m. this Tuesday evening as well. And as usual, we're going to have the musical miscellany, but of course, with the season just around the corner, we're going to be playing you some seasonal rhythms as well. So I intend to start this session with one of our favorites.